Have you ever felt like you are walking on eggshells around certain people? Like there are certain things you can't say around them, that you have to behave a certain way, act a certain way to avoid getting into an argument, a confrontation. Have you ever been in the space where you felt like you couldn't speak your truth or be yourself because of what other people might do in response? You know, that sounds like something that teenagers go through. It sounds like something that when you're 14, 15, or 16 and you want to be liked by the group, that they're the only ones who go through that. But the truth is, so many women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are walking on eggshells, not living their truths and hiding how they really feel about things. And you know what? We're old enough to know the consequences of that. Not only do we lose our voice when we walk on eggshells, our soul dies. So today it's time to get real with where we are walking on eggshells, not showing up fully, not speaking our truth, not being exactly who we are unapologetically. In today's video, I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can finally speak your truth, regardless of who's around, in every and all situations, and unapologetically so. Hi, I'm Cassandra Vaughn. This is Cassandra Vaughn TV, a life redesign channel for women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who want to rebuild their minds, redesign their lives, and reestablish their powerful sense of self-worth. If you're a woman in your 30s, 40s, or 50s and you are ready to rebuild your life, meaning you are ready to put on your crown, to reclaim the throne, and to rule your kingdom, click subscribe and click the bell, and you'll be alerted every time there's a new video, and they will all relate to you. As women, we are living in a world that has serious judgments about us when we choose to use our voice. Now, whether that is speaking our dreams or calling out deceit, when women speak their truth, they tend to be labeled. They're called emotional, chaotic, dramatic, triggered, you name it, women get called that. And it's so funny that I'm doing this video on this topic because I'm a lover of Greek mythology, right? I've loved Greek mythology since I was a child. And growing up, I wanted to understand the origin of my name, Cassandra. And so if those of you who also love Greek mythology, you know that Cassandra was a prophetess, and she, the sun god Apollo was madly in love with her. She didn't return his affections, and so he spit in her mouth and declared that from that moment forward, she would never be believed. And so growing up, when I would look up the meaning of my name, and I'd look up, well, what does Cassandra mean? It means friend to man, but not believed by man. So it's funny that I'm doing this video because my name essentially means what we're talking about. A lot of women don't speak their truth because they don't feel that their truth is honored or respected or validated. And not only are women not speaking their truth at 30, 40, and 50, they're raising daughters who don't do the same as well. So we've got a problem here. And then we wonder why our daughters and our granddaughters, why they are living today in a world of so much opportunity and they're still not using their voice. They're still timid and afraid, and they're second guessing themselves, and they're filled with self-doubt. We're wondering why they are that way. And you know what? The answer to why our daughters and granddaughters are the way they are in terms of using their voice, the answer to that question is really straightforward. If we want the answer to that, all we have to do is look in the mirror. We cannot raise our daughters to use a voice that they're not accustomed to seeing us share. So the buck stops here. We have to learn how to speak our truth. So let's get into it. Here are 3 steps you can take to finally, and in most situations, speak your truth. Step number 1, identify where you've been silencing your voice. This is a big change to make. Finally getting out of the playing small, the being quiet, the not saying what needs to be said. This is a very big step to take. So the first thing we've got to do in order for us to finally speak our truth is get real with where we've silenced our own voice. We have to take some inventory and look back and go, okay, in what ways have I been playing small in the world? In what ways have I been playing a role that is not actually me? In what ways have I been shutting up to appease other people? So the first step is really getting seriously real with yourself about Where have you been silencing your voice? Where have you been cutting that out and not saying what needs to be said? Getting real with that's really important. And you know what? It's also hard to face the fact that you have silenced yourself for decades or for months or on topics that really, really matter to you, or you've been a chameleon and you showed up in ways that really are not authentic to who you are. And yes, while it's a struggle, getting real with that struggle is the first step to finally speaking your truth. So if you struggle with that, if you struggle with really facing how long you have stifled your own voice, I want you to comment below and I want you to tell me, what is the hardest thing about getting real with how long you haven't spoken your truth? Comment below and let me know. Step number 2, pick your top 3 areas of life where it's most important for you to speak your truth. So this step is really important. You know, when you, and it's not even, it's not a funny thing, but I'm laughing because I can remember the number of times when I was walking on eggshells in situations or relationships, and when I finally could not take it anymore, and I finally could not continue to play that role, I exploded on everybody. Like literally, emotionally, verbally vomited on everybody. And so this step is super important because you lose integrity and you lose credibility with your voice if you are not super intentional with how you use it. So for step number 2, I want you to pick your top 3 areas where you feel it's super important to now finally speak your truth. And I want you to write them down and identify, if you could only speak your truth now that you've spent days, weeks, months, or years, or decades not speaking your truth, what are the top 3 areas? It might be the truth about how you feel about marriage, or the truth about how you feel about motherhood, or the truth about the way you felt your family has treated you. But pick your top 3 areas, because again, what a lot of women do, and men do this too, is you walk on eggshells for 20 years, and then one day you turn 60, and on your birthday, your spouse throws you a 60th birthday party and you just go the hell off on everybody. You just go off and everybody thinks you're cuckoo and everybody's like, what happened? Her life was so perfect. That does nothing for your truth, and it does nothing to help people honor that truth. And not that you need people to honor it, but this step is super important because before you actually speak the truth, you need to get clear on what are your top 3 areas where you want to speak the truth. Which, comment below and tell me, if you could only speak your truth finally after so long on one area of your life, what area of your life do you feel is the most important right now to you to speak your truth on? Comment below and let me know. Step number 3, when you speak your truth, do so unapologetically. So this is my favorite step in the 3 steps, which is when you finally choose to speak your truth, do so unapologetically. Now, I'm not going to go on a tangent because this is a whole other video. There are lots of ways that without ever saying I'm sorry, without ever formally apologizing, that even when we speak, we apologize for doing so. There are lots of ways that when we are attempting to speak our truth, we give people the message or the signal that our truth is up for debate because we let people cross-examine us about our truth. We let people debate us on our truth. We let people discuss whether we have a right to feel the way that we feel. We do all of this like debating, discussing, defending why we feel, explaining, over-explaining. Here's the thing. Step number 3 is super important because when you finally do speak your truth, you need to do so unapologetically, meaning I'm not going to debate my truth with you. I'm not going to defend my truth to you. I'm not going to over-explain my truth to you. I'm going to say it one good time. Maybe if you don't get me, I might like you enough to do it twice. But I am not having an interrogation with you about why I feel the way I feel. I'm entitled to my feelings, and so are you. So you will not cross-examine me. You will not debate this with me. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I'm gonna ask you for what I need, and you are free to say yes, and you are free to say no, and I don't have to debate you on why you said no, but this is where I stand. That is the most powerful piece of speaking your truth. When people do the hamby-pamby like, well, I sort of feel, and maybe, No maybes when you speak your truth. Like, tell it like it is, maybe do it again, and then say, listen, I just had to share with you how I feel. You can do with it what you need to do, and I will respond accordingly, but that's all I really wanted to say. And leave it at that. Now, people will try to engage you in a battle on how you feel. People will try to convince you that you're wrong. People will try to invalidate your emotions by saying that you're being emotional. Ignore them. Ignore them. You didn't come to get their approval. You came to speak your truth. So when you actually do it unapologetically. There you have it. My 3 steps you can take to finally speak your truth. Here's the reality. Until you can get to a place in your life where you can speak your truth, you have no power to build the life that you say you really want, because part of building that life is speaking the truth of what that life actually looks like. And look, we all struggle at different seasons and different periods of our lives with speaking our truth. So if you're struggling with that, if you're having a hard time really being able to use your voice and to say how you feel and to stand for what you want, then I invite you to join me for the 10-week Rebuild Yourself program. It is a program geared specifically to women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s who are ready to learn how to unapologetically speak their truth. Now, you can find out more about the program by going to CassandraVaughn.com/programs. And once again, this is not something you can wait on. You know, I know people who have spent 50 years not speaking their truth. And do you know what? They regret every single minute of it. So go to CassandraVaughn.com/programs and learn more about the 10-week Rebuild Yourself program. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you for watching and have an amazing week.